now we're going to talk about models and how to use them. And so we talked about before, just for a second, that, economics, relatively new discipline, undergone a couple of reinvigorations over the years. The first one was John Maynard Keynes, most influential economist of the last 100+ years. And John Maynard Keynes thought and really reiterated throughout his research, throughout his writings, throughout the policy work that he did, that economics doesn't necessarily teach you what to think, but it teaches you how to think. And so similarly, economists use theories and models to try to represent reality and test that representation. So a theory in economics is defined as a simplified representation of how two or more variables interact with each other. I guess two or more would be 1 plus? I don't know. Two or more. And when we're talking about theories, to make a good theory, it has to be simple enough to understand, while still being complex enough to capture key features of the object that you're studying. So it's a balance of simplifying it, right? Because as my advisor told me many times while I was finishing my dissertation, like, Chris, you just have to make assumptions. All models are toy models. All models are toy models. Like this is never going to be a perfect representation of reality. So we need it to be still useful, still tractable, still actionable, still giving us some insights, but we need it to be simple enough that we can understand it and actually convey the information to non-economists. So in economics, technically, we use models to test these theories, but in our class, we're going to use the term model interchangeably with theories, right? So we can think of these as pretty much the same thing. We're going to use them interchangeably. But technically, models are used to test theories, but not very important. All right, we're going to learn our first model now. I know you guys are so excited. Some of you already know this model. So again, it's going to be review, but just means it's extra firm in your brain, right? So the model that we're going to learn today is called our circular flow model, or circular flow diagram. And the circular flow diagram is a very simple model that is talking about two entities and how they relate to one another. The first entity being households, which again, throughout this class, we're going to refer to as HH. And the second entity being companies, firms, businesses. And so how do these two entities relate with one another, right? Well, one of the things that we know is that firms sell goods and services to households. And then what do households do? Households pay for those goods and services? They pay it with dollars, right? They pay it with money for those goods and services. How do those households get that money? Those households get that money from the firms in the form of labor services. They get paid wages and salaries. There's also some dividend income there, right, for profit, for people that own capital, but we're just kind of keeping it simple for the most part. So the firms are going to pay for those labor services, and the households are going to provide those labor services. Work for firms. So households work for firms, and they get paid for it. This bottom part here is called our